Great. And then Chairman, if you want to take it away, we can begin. Mr. Robinson, I think you're muted if you're talking.
Yes, I am. My
Okay,
apologies.
thank you.
Good afternoon. The Board of Adjustment is now in session. My name is Anthony Robinson, and I will be chairing today's meeting. Attending today's virtual meeting are board members Irene Saul, Mona Parsley, Mel DeSimone, and Joe Klitzing. Also in attendance for the city is Evan Winkler, Community Development Planner, Catherine Neiman, Zoning Plan Reviewer for the city. We are hearing today, Andrea Gutierrez, Lead Zoning Specialist. Our attorney for the board is Archer Mellon, and our court reporter is Julie Kearns. Today we will be hearing 4 cases. First, we will hear from the city's representative, who will explain why the permit could not be issued. Next, we will hear from the applicant and or their representative for the project. Then we will hear from those in favor of the appeal and then from those opposed. Please be concise, as testimony will be limited to 3 minutes per person. When you come online via video or telephone, please wait to be sworn in by the court reporter, and then please state your name and mailing address. To ensure proper records for our court reporter, we ask those online or on the telephone to please remain on mute. Following testimony on all of today's cases, the board will go into its deliberative portion of the hearing, at which time we will vote on all cases heard. The board will notify each applicant and or representative of its decision by mail in about 2 weeks. You're welcome to remain during our deliberations. However, we will not hear additional testimony at that time. You may also call the lead zoning specialist, Drea, tomorrow at 314-622-3666 to learn the outcome of your appeal. Again, the number is 314-622-3666. Drea, will you read appeal number 20567?
Appeal number 20567, 6002 Hampton Avenue.
Hello, should I talk?
And then Julie, can I be sworn in?
No.
Sorry, can you hear me?
Do you swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
So good afternoon, board members. My name's Catherine Neiman, zoning plan examiner for the city of St. Louis, representing the building commissioner. I'm here to represent evidence of an appeal to manufacture aftermarket parts for pinball machines and arcade games at 6002 Hampton Avenue. I'd like to present as evidence for this case photos and aerials of said property, plans for the project, and a certified copy of the city of St. Louis zoning ordinance. The basis of denial of the electric playground concerning the building commissioner's refusal to issue an occupancy permit authorizing the petitioner to operate a manufacturing at 6002 Hampton Avenue in city block number 6046043 is as follows. The present zoning for this address is the F Neighborhood Commercial District. The intent of the applicable zoning provisions are to conserve the values of property throughout the city of St. Louis and protect the character and stability of residential, business, and industrial areas. And 6, regulate and restrict the location and use of buildings, structures, and land for trade, industry, residence, and other uses, and to regulate and restrict the intensity of such uses. The applicable zoning code provisions are as follow: 26.16.010, uses prohibited. No structure or land shall be used for a use other than those permitted in the district in which such premises are located, unless such use is permitted by other provisions of the zoning code. Section 26.020S, use regulations and conditional use summary, and section 26.40.020 and or 26.40.025, use regulations and conditional uses of the F neighborhood commercial district do not allow this appellant's proposal as stated above. Evidence of lawful nonconformity has not been presented. So in summary, the petitioner is applying for a manufacturing of pinball machine parts and arcade game parts at this address in the F district. Manufacturing is a prohibited use in the F district, so a use variance will be required prior to zoning approval. And I do have a letter from the Planning and Urban Design Agency. There is no adopted neighborhood plan covering this location. The site is located within a neighborhood commercial area within the strategic land use plan. So the granting of a variance is in keeping with the neighborhood commercial area's intent to promote quality rehabilitation of existing commercial uses that primarily serve adjacent neighborhoods. And that is the 2005 strategic land use plan. The since recently adopted 2025 strategic land use plan states that this site is located within a medium intensity corridor within the 2025 strategic land use plan. So the granting of the variance would be in keeping with this designation's intent of supporting a mix of uses, including some types of light manufacturing and production that would not pose a harm to nearby uses. So therefore, planning staff finds the request of appeal number 20567 is in keeping with the city's comprehensive plan. Do any of the board members have any questions?
Okay, let's hear from the appellant.
Hi, am I the appellate?
Mr.
Are you the
Rath,
attorney?
let's
Yes.
get you sworn in.
Okay. Can you guys hear me? Can you see me? I can't see myself.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
So
Just a second, Mr. Rath. We need to
Sure.
get you signed, or we need to get you sworn in, and then give us your name and mailing address
sure.
after you're sworn in.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
Okay, so name and mailing address for the record.
Yeah, Robin Rath, RATH, 6002 Hampton Avenue, St. Louis 63109.
Okay, go ahead with your testimony.
Yes, so we've been here in business since 2023. Our previous location was on Hampton and Princeton Heights. We moved here within the last year. Pinball machines are primarily owned by consumers and placed inside their homes. So we serve a collector market for pinball machines. And people who buy pinball machines like to add things to their pinball machines, kind of like Jeep owners like to add things to their Jeeps. We make a sign that sits on top of the pinball machine. So it basically just extends the theme and the world of the pinball machine a little bit further through a sign. When I went to file for the business, I picked manufacturing just because it felt like that was the most appropriate thing of what we do. But this is very much light manufacturing. The sign is interactive and then it has lights inside of it. And those lights are turned on by things that happen inside the pinball machine from time to time. So it's interactive signage that sits on top of the machine. It's no more complex than a cuckoo clock. We have a team of 2 or 3 people that build these. We ship 10 to 20 units a month. So it's very small in terms of volume. All the parts are very small. We acquire them via Amazon or online, and then we put them together and ship them to our customers direct. Our customers buy through our website. There's not a retail presence, and we don't operate pinball machines for consumer use here on location.
Okay,
One last thing, I don't know if the document referred to, but Tom Oldenburg, who's the alderman here, wrote a letter of support for our business after talking with me and seeing our business.
Okay. Board members, any questions? Joe, looks like you have a question, but muted.
I always forget to unmute myself. What would be your hours of operation?
Between 7 a.m. and 3 p.m. Monday through Friday.
Okay. How many employees will you have?
We have 3 employees currently, including myself.
And you don't have any big deliveries. It's all by
The
something
largest
like
delivery we
that.
receive is the box.
You
that
don't
they-
have over-the-road trucks coming in or anything like that.
No, I mean, we do have like a shipment of boxes from time to time that arrives on a pallet, but that's basically once per quarter or every 6 months. Everything else is like Amazon deliveries effectively.
I'm having trouble with my internet.
Did you hear my response?
No, I didn't.
So we receive a pallet of boxes quarterly. That's the largest shipment we receive. It comes on a pallet that's immediately loaded in. Everything else is delivered basically through Amazon like drivers. So very light in delivery.
You're not manufacturing anything that makes any noise or anything like that, correct?
No, the only machinery we have are 3D printers, which make very quiet noise, but nothing that would penetrate the walls of the facility.
Okay. That's my questions that I had for you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mel?
Are those the hours that you gave? There would never be any variance from that?
So we start relatively early. I usually start around 7, but everyone's out by 3 p.m. People may stick around a little bit after that, but definitely never past 5.
So it'd be better to go 7 to 5, because if you want to change that, you have to come back here and do this all over again. You don't
I
have to stay
understand.
5, but if you're going to sometimes stay there, or if it's Saturday, something like that, you might just do it now.
Yeah, I would say 7 to 5 weekdays. I mean, I'll sometimes pop in to check on something during the weekend, but the hours are weekdays only.
Okay. Just want to try and save you another trip here.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mel. Any other board members have any questions? Okay. Is there anyone here to testify in favor of this appeal? Okay. Is there anyone here to testify in opposition to this appeal? All right, hearing none, I will read into the record exhibits, certified copy of the zoning ordinance, appeal to the board, basis of denial, meeting notice letter, City Journal public notices, photographs, Sanborn maps, memo from Planning and Urban Design, email letter of support from Alderman Oldenburg, website summary of business, and photo of workspace submitted by petitioner. And with that, I will consider this appeal having been heard. Drea, can you read appeal number 11920?
Appeal number 11920, 3500 Magnolia Avenue.
Good afternoon, board members. Again, my name is Catherine Neiman, zoning plan examiner for the city of St. Louis, representing the building commissioner. I'm here.
Catherine, you gotta be sworn in again.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Sorry. Thank you, Mel.
Do you swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
Here to present evidence of an appeal to convert building to 4 residential units, zoning only at 3500 Magnolia Avenue. I'd like to present as evidence for this case, photos and aerials of the said property, plans for the project, and a certified copy of the City of St. Louis zoning ordinance. So the basis of denial for Reinvent Realty LLC, care of Jesse Bilodeau, concerning the building commissioner's refusal to issue a building permit authorizing the petitioner to convert to 4 residential units, zoning only at 3500 Magnolia Avenue in city block number 1147 is as follows. The present zoning for this address is Zone B, 2-family dwelling district. The intent of the applicable zoning provisions are to fix reasonable standards to which buildings and structures shall conform. The applicable zoning code provisions are to, per section 26.24.020C, use regulations, semi-detached 2-family dwellings or multiple family dwellings for not more than 4 families, which comply with the area and parking regulations of the C multiple family dwelling district, where 40% or more of the frontage of a street is occupied by semi-detached 2-family or multiple family dwellings. And then per section 26.24.080A, single-family dwellings shall have a lot area of not less than 4,000 square feet, except that lots of record prior to the effective date of ordinance 45309 may be used for one single-family dwelling, provided the yard regulations of this section are complied with. Other dwellings, except as provided in section 26.24.0203, shall have a lot area of not less than 2,500 square feet for each dwelling unit. Evidence of lawful nonconformity has not been presented. So in summary, the petitioner is applying for a building permit to renovate the interior of an existing mixed-use building in the B 2-family dwelling district, converting it into 4 residential units. The renovation plans include updating the ground floor to create 2 units, each with 2 bedrooms, 1 bedroom on the ground floor and 1 in the basement. The second floor will contain 2 additional units, each with 1 bedroom. So in total, the building will have 4 units with 6 bedrooms. In the B 2-family dwelling district, multiple family dwellings are not permitted by right. Therefore, a use variance is required for the proposed use prior to approval. And then additionally, the parcel is 4,473 square feet, while in the B district requires 2,500 square feet of land per dwelling. So 4 dwelling units in the B district would require 10,000 square feet of land. So as a result, an area variance is required for density prior to approval. And then we do have a letter from the City of St. Louis Planning and Urban Design Agency. There is no adopted neighborhood plan covering this location. And then against the 2005 strategic land use plan, the site is located within a neighborhood preservation area. The granting of the variance is in keeping with the neighborhood preservation's intent to promote quality rehabilitation that is sensitive to the character of the existing residences. And then against the 2025 strategic land use plan, the site is located within a medium intensity neighborhood. The granting of the variance would be in keeping with the designation's intent of supporting mix of uses and many types of housing, including multi-unit homes. So therefore, planning staff finds the request of appeal number 11920 is in keeping with the city's comprehensive plan. Do any of the board members have any questions?
Okay, let's hear from the appellant.
Question. I have a question.
Sorry, go ahead, Molly.
Catherine, you indicated mixed use on the building,
Mhm.
and then you called it zoned B. Is it mixed use because it looks like mixed use?
Well, where did I say mixed use? Do you remember what part?
Closer to the beginning? I'm sorry. Hi. I'm splitting hairs with you. I'm sorry. I just was confused why we called it mixed use, and then you called it mixed use again just towards the end. And so I was just curious why we were calling it mixed use if it's zoned B as in boy. I mean, it looks like a storefront to me.
Well,
The previous use.
yeah, so the existing building is a existing mixed use building, but the renovations are to be a multi-family dwelling unit. So it's currently a mixed use, but the renovations to the building would make it a multiple family dwelling unit.
So it's currently being used as a commercial storefront?
It's vacant.
I could shed some light.
Mr. Billadu, we will give you
Yes.
an opportunity.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. I mean, I'm clear as mud on that, Catherine, but we'll move forward.
Okay.
All right. Let's now hear from the appellant, and we will get you first sworn in, Mr. Billadu.
Would you raise your right hand? Do you swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Okay, and then can you state your name and mailing address for the record?
Sure. It's Jesse Billadu, and it's 3812 Juniata Street, and that's St. Louis, Missouri 63116.
All right, go ahead with your testimony.
Sure. So to answer, the question that was brought up just a minute ago. So the building was a lawyer's office. So it was a lawyer's office on the first floor, and then the top floor had apartments above it. But it recently, in July of last year, suffered a fire. So essentially, all that was really left was the four masonry walls that were left in the building. It's the building that's across the street from the TikTok, if you are familiar. But that's the building that we're talking about in question. So it is currently vacant, and like I mentioned, suffered a fire. So it's been boarded up. It's been kind of a target of graffiti and that kind of thing. But my plan is to do basically what was mentioned, is to convert it into 4 residential apartments and leave everything on the exterior of the building exactly like it is now. There'll be no changes whatsoever to the exterior building of the building, just all interior renovations. And yeah, it doesn't meet the zoning requirements based on the lot size, but there are up and down the street, it is currently zoned 2-family, zoning B, 2-family residential, and there are several 4-family residential buildings that are, basically all up and down the street. It's a mixture of single-family homes, 2 families, and then 4-family buildings.
Do we have the necessary parking? Do we have 4 parking for this property?
Yes, we do. There'll be 4 spaces in the rear.
Thank you.
Okay. Any board
And I'd
members?
also,
Go ahead, Mr.
sorry, I just wanted to add that I do have a support letter. You should have that from the neighborhood as well as the alderperson as well.
Yes. Thank you. Any other board members have any questions? Okay. Is there anyone here to testify in favor of this appeal? Alderwoman Sanye.
Hi, good morning.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
And let's get you sworn in.
I promise that what I'm about to say is the whole truth and nothing but the truth.
Do you swear the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Can you state your name and mailing address for the record?
Yes, I am Alderwoman Sanye. I have the honor of serving as the Alderwoman for the 7th Ward and 1200 Market Street, room 230.
Thank you. Go ahead with your testimony.
Thank you all for having me here today. I wrote a letter in support, but I just wanted to show up and support the project as well. This was a building that was previously a law office that had been there for quite some time, and they experienced a fire. And it's very much an eyesore on this block. It's also right near, in addition to residential homes, near another neighborhood bar that's really a staple in the community that a lot of folks go to. And so both the neighborhood and I are both really excited to see this become something that is renovated, that is fixed, rather than a burned down, like dilapidated, damaged building, and are excited for it to bring some housing and increase, add to the density of the neighborhood.
Okay. Any board members have any questions? All right. Thank you, Alderwoman. Is there anyone else here to testify in favor of this appeal? Okay. Is there anyone here to testify in opposition to this appeal?
Yes.
Alexander. Okay, let's get you sworn in.
Sure.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Okay, can you state your name and mailing address for the record?
Alexander Matan, 2611 Arkansas Avenue, St. Louis, Missouri, 63118.
Okay, go ahead with your testimony.
So I live down the street. I'm very familiar with the block. I've lived there for about 10 years now. My only issue with it is that it isn't designed to be a 4-unit. It's a 2-unit building, and I want to correct the previous person. It was used as a law firm entirely. There were no apartments above. It was being used as part of the law firm. The building, essentially, in my opinion, is not large enough for 4 units. It doesn't look large enough. It wasn't designed for it, and from what I gather, the zoning doesn't allow for it either. I feel like that should be upheld. If you want to turn it into 2 units, that's perfectly fine. But the word density came up. I think that density is kind of the problem. You're packing too many people into a small area. It's essentially, I mean, yes, you're trying to increase your rent. I get that, but it doesn't serve the neighborhood at large. You can turn it into a 2-unit without harming the neighborhood. You turn it into a 4-unit, you do harm the neighborhood, in my opinion. And as far as the back goes as well, I'm not entirely sure where you're going to park 4 cars there.
Okay, any board members have any questions?
Would I be able to respond to that?
I'll give you an opportunity at the end. You'll get 2 minutes.
Okay.
Okay, is there anyone else here to testify in opposition to this appeal? Okay, Mr. Bilodeau, you are still under oath. Go ahead.
Yes. So yeah, just to respond to the gentleman who had the, some of his concerns. So the way we are going to split the building up is actually down the center of the building lengthwise as opposed to, looking at the front of the building and, splitting it that way. The building is actually very deep, and it's 1,600 square feet per floor. So when you divide the units down the center, you're getting 800 square feet per unit, and the top floor units will be two 800 square foot 1-bedroom apartments. And when we're duplexing down and finishing the basement, because there are tall ceilings in there, so they're actually going to be 1,600 square foot units a piece with 2 bedrooms. So there's plenty of room to for 4 units. And then, in regards to the parking, there is a parking pad in back that will accommodate for 4 parking spaces. So yeah, I guess that was just all I wanted to just address this question. There's comments.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Bildahl. Any board members have any questions? All right, well, with that, I will read into the record exhibits. Certified copy of the zoning ordinance, appeal to the board, basis of denial, meeting notice letter, City Journal public notices, photographs, Sanborn maps, memo from Planning and Urban Design, an owner's statement for building permit issued with zoning hold, letter of support from Alderwoman Sanye, and a letter of support from Tristan McKenzie, President, 2024 through 2025 Tower Grove East Neighborhood Association. And with that, I will consider this appeal having been heard. Drea, can you read appeal number 11921?
Appeal number 11921, 2610 Alhambra Court.
Julie.
You swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do. So again, good afternoon, board members. My name's Catherine Neiman, zoning plan examiner for the city of St. Louis, representing the building commissioner. I'm here to present evidence of an appeal to construct 2-car garage detached with loft per plans at 2610 Alhambra Court. I'd like to present as evidence for this case photos and aerials of the said property, plans for the project, and a certified copy of the City of St. Louis zoning ordinance. So the basis of denial of Darko and Elena Kotskotsky concerning building commissioner's refusal to issue a building permit authorizing the petitioner to construct a 2-car garage detached with loft per plans at 2610 Alhambra Court in city block number 1442 is as follows. The present zoning for this address is Zone B, 2-family dwelling district. The intent of the applicable zoning provisions are to fix reasonable standards to which buildings and all structures shall conform. And the applicable zoning code provisions are to, per section 26.24.070 through 26.20.080 rear yard. There shall be a rear yard of not less than 25 feet in depth. And then per section 26.24.080A, density of population, single-family dwellings shall have a lot area of not less than 4,000 square feet, except that lots of record prior to the effective date of ordinance 45309 may be used for one single-family dwelling provided the yard regulations of this section are complied with. Other dwellings, except as provided in section 26.24.0203, shall have a lot area of not less than 2,500 square feet for each dwelling unit. Evidence of lawful nonconformity has not been presented. So in summary, the petitioner is seeking a building permit to construct a new 2-car detached garage with a loft on the second floor in the B 2-family dwelling district. The first level will provide parking spaces for 2 cars with a door leading to the second level. Additionally, visitors may enter through a back door, which opens to a foyer with stairs to the upper floor. The second floor will contain a living room, a full kitchen, a full bathroom, 2 bedrooms, comprising 1 dwelling unit. In this case, the rear yard measures only 3 feet, while the B district requires a minimum rear yard depth of 25 feet. Thus, an area variance is necessary for the rear yard setback. Additionally, the parcel is only 4,378 square feet, whereas the B district requires a minimum lot area of 2,500 square feet per dwelling unit. Therefore, an area variance for population of density is required prior to approval. The letter from the Planning and Urban Design Agency states that there's no adopted neighborhood plan covering this location. Against the 2005 strategic land use plan, the site is located within a neighborhood preservation area. The granting of the variance is in keeping with the neighborhood preservations area to promote quality rehabilitation that is sensitive to the character of the existing residences. And against the 2025 strategic land use plan, the site is located within a medium intensity neighborhood. The granting of the variance would be in keeping with the designation's intent of supporting a mix of uses and many types of housing, including accessory dwelling units. Therefore, planning staff finds the request of appeal number 11921 is in keeping with the city's comprehensive plan. Do any of the board members have any questions?
Okay, let's hear from the appellant.
Good afternoon. My name is Elena Kostesky, and my husband here is as well as the appellants.
Okay, let's get you sworn in, Ms. Kostesky.
Okay.
Would you raise your right hand? Do you swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
And then do you need my husband to swear in, although I'll be doing the talking?
No. If he should decide to testify, we will get him sworn in at that point.
Okay, excellent.
Okay. And then again, could you state your name and mailing address for the record?
My name is Elena Kostesky, regarding 2610 Alhambra Court with mailing address at 941 DePere Road in St. Louis, Missouri, 63131.
Okay, go ahead with your testimony.
I appreciate the opportunity to present my appeal regarding the refusal to issue the building permit for the carport garage with the loft on top at 2610 Alhambra Court. And in support of my appeal, I have provided photographs and addresses of similar existing structure that have been constructed within the last year. The detached garages that are constructed are in the neighborhood are similar to some of the historic structures that have been in the area and served as an in-law suites. The plan that I propose is within the historic guidelines of the property. And the property that we had ownership of, we've had it for about 4 years, was a condemned property that was an eyesore in the neighborhood. It was condemned property that was about to collapse. And we had brought it up to code and had used it and made it a beautiful property, upscale property in the area. We're the only single unit house on the street. Everybody else is 2-unit or 4 units. We are adding this loft on top of the carport garage as adding value to the property, but also I think it will be a great idea, since we are in the future planning to keep and retire that in that property, be able to use it for whatever. My husband is a contractor and he has a lot of projects, and whether we have in-laws coming in from Macedonia, we've been here for 30 years, but we still have family in Macedonia and always have visitors. Right now we are renting the property, but in the future we plan to keep it for ourselves. Another thing is that we're not adding that property to add another rental unit. We're hoping that we will do that as a unit. But even though I know the owners, the neighbors, or whoever might be concerned about adding another rental property, like I said, we are probably the only house that has 1 unit on the street. And it is consistent with the zoning to have a maximum of two, residential units on that lot. I think the issue was the square footage for the lot, what I think the denial was for. Square footage for the yard, if I'm understanding correctly. So I'm hoping that some of the projects that I've submitted that are in the neighborhood will kind of give an idea of the similar project that we're hoping to finish with that property.
Okay, thank you, Mr.
Oh, and I'm sorry, if the alderman is still there, I was trying to get a hold of and get her support, but we were out of town and I got the letter in the mail a little bit too late, so I wasn't able to get a hold of her. But if she's opposed or supports the project, I hope she will kind of give her opinion on it as well. She is online with us.
Thank you. Any board members have any questions? Mel?
Maybe you met with the neighborhood unit? You met with the neighborhood group?
I
Because
did
they've got a
not.
letter saying they oppose it.
You do have a letter
Basically.
saying that they oppose it?
Yeah.
No, I honestly, I was out of town because of spring break with the kids. We have 3 kids, and I got the letter on the 27th of March. So I try to do as much as I can. I believe since the sign was posted in front of the house and on the corner over there by Magnolia, where the other gentleman had the project with the 4 units, I was hoping that they would either come for support or denial. And I am looking forward to understand if they do have an issue, what the issue is, because honestly, I did not have enough time to hear their opinion.
I probably would suggest that we get you time to meet with the alderperson and the neighborhood group. I think they would resolve a lot of fears and animosity. Okay.
I understand.
Any other board members have any questions? Okay. Okay, is there anyone here to testify in favor of this appeal? Okay, is there anyone here to testify in opposition to this appeal? Let's start with the alderwoman. And we will need to get you sworn in again.
Do you swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right, and then again, state your name and mailing address for the record.
My name is Alicia Sanye, and I have the honor of serving as the alderwoman of the 7th Ward, and my mailing address is 1200 Market Street, room 230.
Thank you. Go ahead with your testimony.
Thank you so much for having me before you all again today. I am here to testify in opposition. We try to keep a very diligent process within the neighborhood so that we are aware of what is happening and what is going on. I think there's, unfortunately, I haven't had the opportunity to connect with the operators themselves or the property owners themselves, but usually Tower Grove East actually has a development committee, and then we present it at a neighborhood meeting meeting and get like a vote from the residents on how they feel about it. Unfortunately, because we haven't had any communication with the property owner, the only communication I've received has been opposition from neighbors that are near the property. Some of the concerns that have come up, number one, like I said, just a lack of community engagement. I think it's really important if you want to do something within someone's neighborhood that you take the time to contact them or myself just as an official representative so that we have a space to have communication, talk through some concerns, and even possibly come to an agreement in terms and conditions that can work for both parties. So I think that's the first big red flag, is that there has been no communication with my office. I know it was stated that there was an attempt to reach out. I haven't received that attempt and even kind of searched and looked to see if we could have that conversation. I haven't received that or seen that, but I'll make sure that I put my contact information into the chat, and you can certainly feel free to send me an email and I can help make sure we talk and connect you with the neighborhood group. And then the second concern that I've heard raised from a lot of the neighbors is really that how this is going to be operated is the idea that this is going to be a short-term rental or an Airbnb property. A lot of neighbors in the surrounding areas have reported concerns of saying that they've observed upwards of 16 people in the unit at one time, which obviously this is a location that's in the midst of a residential neighborhood that's surrounding families. And they've just kind of had a number of issues and a number of concerns of how that would go. On my end, I have that concern for the neighborhood. Just also curious of what the intentions are, but also we have a new process in the city of St. Louis from an ordinance that was passed recently that requires that there be sort of an additional process that you have to go through in order to operate as a short-term rental. This is a newer ordinance, but again, I would be happy to, it's a new permitting process that is required for Airbnbs that hasn't been engaged yet, where you have to apply for a permit to operate as display. I know this is a new policy, so I would certainly be happy to sit down and kind of explain, how it works, what the expectations is, and help navigate it. But it does have to be applied for by May 6th based on your application date. So I want to just make sure that I put that out there. And then I think there's also been some concerns. I mentioned the 16 folks in the house. So also that can cause a concern for the on-street parking because it's within a residential neighborhood. So I am in opposition today. I would love the opportunity to have, further conversation and certainly offer myself up to make sure we can create room if you were interested in coming to a neighborhood meeting and talking to the development committee and kind of just giving some information that we haven't get or obtained.
No, absolutely.
I'm sorry, Ms. Kosetsky, you are not allowed to reply.
Oh,
I will, if at the end of all testimony you would like, I will give you 2 minutes to reply.
Okay. Yeah, I was pretty much wrapping up my testimony. I was just saying, those are the major concerns I've heard. I know the desire is to add a garage and a lofting. So with that increased capacity, what's the idea of how it being operated? Just a lot of questions and not a lot of clarity at this moment, and no outreach. And again, I also want to make sure that the new process for, if the goal is to operate this as a short-term rental, that is compliant with the ordinance and the laws of the city.
Thank you, Alderwoman. Are there any board members that have any questions? Okay. Is there anyone else here to testify in opposition to this appeal? Let's see here. Alexander, let's get you sworn in again.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Oh, I can't hear you. You're muted.
Yes, I do.
Okay. Again, could you state your name and mailing address for the record?
Alexander Matan, 2611 Arkansas Avenue, St. Louis, Missouri, 63118.
Okay, go ahead with your testimony.
Yeah, so we live directly behind this property in question. I've met the owner on a couple of occasions, Drago. He seems like a nice guy. I respect what they did with the property. My issue is not with the property or what they've done with the property. It's with the way that they're using the property. It's an Airbnb essentially, and Airbnb renters unfortunately do not behave like neighbors. I've had on 2 occasions issues with their renters. It is a problem. I am concerned about adding additional property to house even more renters. It is a bit of a party house at this point. We get the drinking, we get the smoking weed. The neighborhood isn't designed for that purpose. We live there as residents, and the people that come through this house aren't behaving like neighbors at all. It is a problem, and there's no way for anyone to police that. All that we can do at this point is just we call police, and maybe they show up or maybe they don't. But my biggest issue is, my fear is, if it's one thing if you're going to live in the property, but you're not, and that may well be your intention, but at the current time, you have no other intention for that garage other than to rent it out to Airbnb renters. That doesn't jive with our neighborhood. The neighborhood isn't designed for short-term rentals or Airbnb renters, and they do cause a problem. They're a nuisance to all of us around. I know that might not be the owner's intention, but that is what happens.
Thank you. Any board members have any questions? All right, Ms. Matan. Let's get you sworn in.
Do you raise your right hand? Do you swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Excuse me, so help you God.
I do.
Thank you.
Okay, can you state your name and mailing address for the record?
Yes, it's Asha Matan. Mailing address is at 2611 Arkansas Avenue, St. Louis, Missouri, 63118.
Okay, go ahead with your testimony.
Yeah, so Alex is my husband, and he essentially said everything that I would say as well. We live together at 2611 Arkansas. And so I just wanted to add a little bit more to what he was saying and explain that we also have a 2-year-old daughter, and there are a lot of families on the neighborhood block that also have young kids. And so it is a concern when people come, to visit the Airbnb and they're smoking pot and drinking and yelling and talking loudly. And, that can sometimes make us nervous, and we're not always sure, what action to take. Do we call the police, or, what's going to happen? So yeah, just not the environment that we want for our family, for our daughter, and just feeling nervous about what the use would be of a new loft, and also feeling nervous that could be, another extension of the Airbnb, and wondering what other types of guests, would stay there. And if they are staying in that loft, then physically they're also going to be closer to our house, because we are directly behind their current parking lot. So just, yeah, uncertain and a little bit nervous about that.
Okay, any board members have any questions?
I have one quick question. Is the property used as a single family home, or is it a multifamily, 2-family dwelling?
Is that for me to answer, or
who is that for, Mona?
I don't care who answers it, whoever knows.
Well, so
It seems to be Zone B, multifamily, so I was just curious, with 16 people at the property, just what we heard testified.
Mona and Chairman, we just checked. It's assessed as a single family property.
Oh, thank you. There we go. Perfect.
Okay, any other board members have any questions? All right, is there anyone else here to testify in opposition to this appeal?
Chairman, we do have someone to testify in opposition in person here at our office.
Okay.
Okay, his hand is raised.
Do you swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Okay, can he state his name and mailing address for the record?
Kevin McGee, 3534 Sydney Street, St. Louis, Missouri, 63104.
Okay, go ahead with your testimony.
I apologize for, I was told when I read the statement that they show up at room 425. And me and my wife did that today. And then they sent me to 400. And I appreciate you accommodating us. And my wife's on Zoom now. I've been in that 3534 Sydney Street on the corner of Alhambra Court in Sydney since 1986. I'm not opposed of building the garage. My opposition comes into parking. Right now, the city of St. Louis took away parking to make room for the Kroger store. I have pictures to show all the signs of no parking. They're already taken away 6 to 8 spots that are on there now. The Airbnb is listed as a 6-room, 5 full baths, sleeps 16, parking on the street and premise parking. When it is rented out, we have to park somewhere else. It's that simple. The neighborhood is all 2 4-family flats, and there's only one other single family flat. This is a real small one in the host block. There's no parking now whenever the Airbnb is rented out. When Elena and Darko first started working on the unit, we were all excited. They told us that they were going to live there with their girls, and we were all excited about that. And now they're saying we're just going to live there when we retire. Don't believe them. They told us that they were going to live there once, and they never did. No attempt to move in. That's pretty well it. They've been great B&Bs. I don't get the noise that they do. All I got is as they come in from partying, they're loud. They get in the house and we don't hear from them. Basically, there's no parking there now. They're going to rent that unit out, and then the 2-car garage below is going to be for the people who live above it, and that's it. So that's either going to be a break even. I wish that the people who do rent the B&B out use the parking in the back. I don't know if they do or not, because I can't see that, and I'm not getting up at 1 or 2 in the morning to see if they're back there. Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Any board members have any questions?
I'm sorry.
Yes, go ahead.
I also have pictures of all the parking that was taken away from Kroger's. The city put up signs so the residents couldn't park there. Kroger's was running into cars with their 57-foot sleeper tractor trailers. And so their solution, Lyda, Crucian, the mayor, and Steve Conway, was to take away parking from the residents on Alhambra Court.
Okay. And have you entered those photos into the record?
I sent them to the board of Tower Row East, and I also sent them to Ann Moore, and I also sent them to Sonia. I have them with me now, and I can send them if you tell me where to send them.
Catherine, can you take those in for the record?
Chairman, we can. We'll have them email it to us right now, and then we'll have to forward them to you before you close the exhibits.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else here to testify in opposition to this appeal? Okay, Ms. Kosetsky, you have 2 minutes to rebut.
I appreciate all the comments. I absolutely think they're valid. However, I want to speak to Rita and John because they were really close to them. Our plans did change to not live in the property based on the fact that we weren't gonna build on that carport garage, and that's a necessity for us when somebody comes to live with you for 3 to 6 months at a time. That includes my parents, his parents, and we've been in appeal process because there was an error with the system at the city. For 6 months prior to that, it was sent to the wrong address, and I always kept coming and being like, what's happening? What's happening? So I did not lie to them, although after 2 years of doing nothing on that part, almost a year in the process, so things do change. So yes, we are planning to, or again, things could change, because if we do not get this as a unit, that is not a valuable property for us. So it's easier to sell and find somewhere where it will fit your needs. So that's a valid concern for everybody. Another thing that I think that I hope the neighbors appreciate and see it is that the property was a gathering place for a lot of people selling drugs. They've witnessed it in front of in the street. When we fixed the property, none of that was happening, because we are there pretty much every day or every other day. We have met Alex and Heath and everybody. I have cameras on the property, and it's a high-end property with valuable things inside that are high-end because we fixed it for us. So everything is high value, from the hardwood floors to the historic renovations to everything. So the fact that they're complaining about noise, and I have cameras on the property, and nobody's really raised the concern other than the parking, which I understand the parking is bad as it is without that. I totally get the parking, but I don't understand that that they're complaining about issues with the guests, because most of the guests on Airbnb, and I don't use VRBO, I just use Airbnb, are quality checked. I only get 5-star people, and they're usually either families with kids or elderly. I actually have a record of it. I've never had an issue with any of the guests. Heath, which is the neighbor that apparently raised the first concern, I immediately checked with him, and I immediately checked with Rita to make sure that didn't happen. Rita and her husband, across the street, because that was the last thing that was on my mind, especially when you have valuables put in the home and you don't want them to be ruined by any means. Obviously, they can see the pictures on the website. So my intent is not to create a hostile environment for my neighbors. I, for 10 years, lived in the neighborhood. So I totally understand their concerns. I moved out of the city because, like I said, for that reason, and then I couldn't get my kids into the schools because they were in 3 different schools. But the bottom line is, if they feel that way and that's truly are the facts, I highly support their decision. But if they're only basing it based on rumors and speculations, I really truly believe that they should definitely check the facts before they state them. Because I honestly feel like right now, the purpose of the building was to improve it. And I feel like I've improved it because, like I said, we have pictures from the neighbors of people doing drugs on that house porch.
Okay,
So I feel like we've improved the, like I said, my intent is not to create any problems. And I totally, again, whatever happens with the property as far as the approval or the denial, I definitely don't want to create any hostile environment. And if they don't feel like they're supporting this, then that's fine. We can move on and sell or do whatever we need to sell if they don't feel like that's the right fit for the property. But I also think that they really should really look at the facts before they, like I said, other than the parking, I feel the rest of it is not as it is.
Okay, Ms. Kosetsky, thank you. Look in the chat. There is now email addresses for the neighborhood association and the alderwoman. I think it is important that you create a dialogue with both.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I guess I dialed the general 622 number for Ms. Sonira. And I did try to connect with the neighborhood association through Facebook as I was instructed by the neighbor. So maybe this will be a better option just to email directly. So I appreciate the context.
Thank you. Alderwoman, if you would like, you can have a 2-minute rebuttal.
I wouldn't, I know it's called a rebuttal because of the format. I just think the best way to get to the facts of a situation is for us to have conversation and dialogue. I think if there is any misinformation out there, it's out there because, again, like I said, I haven't had an opportunity to have any communication with you all. And so I think the neighbors are just talking amongst themselves. And I think one of the things I've really heard uplifted is kind of the capacity issue. So I think it is the fact that they feel like if 16 folks have already been seen there, if you add another building to it, another space, are we going to go beyond 16? And it's not uncommon for us to need to have these conversations when it's happening so that we can make sure that that there can be specific terms and conditions that work. But, like I said, you totally have my commitment. My email is there. I'm very responsive. We have neighborhood meetings. We meet with, we meet with the committee. And so I think the best option would be for us to have that conversation. But I would say, like, as long as there is no conversation, then I would continue to be opposed because I just think, I know you mentioned that you lived there previously. I think, I welcome you to come to the table and like, let's actually have a conversation so that we can get on the same page and figure out if an agreement can be reached. But if there's no action or nothing that I can see where there's even an attempt made to have communication, then for me, I'm just going to be opposed every time because I think that's the only way that we could ever, build consensus or come to any kind of agreement. And I do know, like I said, the parking, but really in the capacity are like issues that have been witnessed, which you may not even be aware of. I don't know if you were contacted on the days where those were instances that happened. Like, I just know there are some things that have been uplifted. And I think some of the neighbors, they don't always want to call the police. Or they feel that if they do call the police, there's a late response. So I find that oftentimes us all being in communication with each other really is the best way to go about these operating in a way that's not like detrimental or negative to the neighbors, which, as was mentioned, there's a lot of families with young children in specific on this block. And so I think it has just kind of been disruptive to them, and the inability to have communication and see potential expansion puts a lot of people, including myself, on edge. And I think is like a core reason for the opposition today.
Thank you, Alderwoman. Any board members have any questions? Okay, and Catherine, did we get those photos entered into the record?
Not yet, but it is being worked on right now with Dre. It's up to you if you want those submitted or if you would like to proceed.
How much longer do you guys need?
They're saying about a minute.
We'll wait.
Okay. Chairman, they're still working on that.
Okay.
Wouldn't mind, so proceed with that.
Okay, Chairman, so with the technical difficulties, it's been decided in the room that they're going to proceed without those photos.
Okay. With that, I will then read into the record exhibits, certified copy of the zoning ordinance, appeal to the board, basis of denial, meeting notice letter, city journal public notices, photographs, Sanborn maps, memo from planning and urban design, a letter of opposition from Tristan McKenzie, president 2024 through 2025 Tower Grove East Neighborhood Association, feedback email forwarded by Alderwoman Sanye from Health Goodrich, and three photos submitted by the petitioner. And with that, I will consider this appeal having been heard. Drea, can you read appeal number 11922?
Appeal number 11922, 2805 Shenandoah Avenue.
Do you swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do. Okay, so again, good afternoon, board members. For the record, my name is Catherine Neiman, zoning plan examiner for the city of St. Louis, representing the building commissioner, here to present evidence of an appeal to complete interior alterations per plans for a restaurant with liquor, no outside seating at 2805 Shenandoah Avenue. I'd like to present as evidence for this case photos and aerials of said property, plans for the project, and a certified copy of the City of St. Louis zoning ordinance. So the basis of denial of Spotwood Construction, care of Lawson Harris, concerning the building commissioner's refusal to issue a building permit, authorizing the petitioner to complete interior alterations per plans for a restaurant with liquor, no outside seating at 2805 Shenandoah Avenue in city block number 1378 is as follows. The present zoning for this address is Zone C, Multiple Family Dwelling District. The intent of the applicable zoning provisions are to conserve the values of property throughout the city of St. Louis and protect the character and stability of residential business and industrial areas. Regulate and restrict the location and use of building, structures, and land for trade, industry, residents, and other uses, and to regulate and restrict the intensity of such uses. The applicable zoning provisions are to, per section 26.16.020, structures prohibited are no structure shall be erected, placed, enlarged, or structurally altered unless such action shall make the premise upon which it shall stand to conform to the regulations for the district in which the premises are located, unless authorized by other provisions of the zoning code. Additionally, section 26.28.020 and or 26.28.025 use regulations and conditional uses of the C multiple family dwelling district do not allow this petitioner's proposal as stated above. Evidence of lawful nonconformity has not been presented. So in summary, the petitioner proposes to complete interior alterations for a restaurant with liquor, no outside seating. Restaurants are not an allowed use in the C district, so a use variance from the Board of Adjustment will be required to approve this application. While a use variance for a photography studio and office was issued in 2008, a new use variance for a restaurant with liquor will be needed to approve this application. And then the letter from the Planning and Urban Design Agency states that there is no adopted neighborhood plan covering this location. Against the 2005 strategic land use plan, the site is located within a neighborhood preservation area. The granting of the variance is in keeping with the neighborhood preservation's area intent to promote quality rehabilitation that is sensitive to the character of the existing residences. And then against the 2025 strategic land use plan, the site is located within a medium intensity neighborhood. The granting of the variance would be in keeping with the designation's intent of supporting a mix of uses, including eating and drinking establishments that serve the immediate neighborhood. Therefore, planning staff find the request of appeal number 11922 is in keeping to the city's comprehensive plan. Do any of the board members have any questions?
Okay, let's hear from the appellant.
Hello.
Hi, let's get you sworn in.
Okay.
Do you swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Okay, can you state your name and mailing address for the record?
My name's Craig Rivard, 2637 Oregon Avenue, St. Louis, Missouri, 63118.
Okay, go ahead with your testimony.
Great. So I'll introduce the project. I also have our architect on that can help with any details as well. So my wife and I own and operate Little Fox at the corner of California and Shenandoah. We recently purchased the building across the street at 2805 Shenandoah and would like to open another small restaurant in that space. The planned name of it is Surly Wine and Eatery, primarily a restaurant that would be serving wine as well. Very small alcohol and beer, or liquor and beer offerings as well. Currently, so previously the space was a gym from the previous owners who then converted it back into a studio apartment on the first floor. And we are looking to make that commercial again. And there was a slight mistake on the application. We would like outdoor seating. We're hoping that we would be able to adjust that in this meeting, but happy to move forward with the initial variance if need be.
Chairman, just a heads up, this is Evan. It was posted as no outdoor seating, so if outdoor seating is to be considered with this appeal, it would need to be continued.
Okay, so we will do that at another time then.
Okay. Any board, do you have any additional testimony?
Yes, we'd like to invite Jay Reeves to speak on behalf of the project as well.
Okay, give me a second, Mr. Reeves. Mr. Rivard, do you have any additional testimony?
I don't believe so.
Okay. Any board members have any questions for Mr. Rivard?
Do you have any parking that is off street?
There are two spaces behind the building. And then, with otherwise it would be street parking.
Okay.
With our seating, and Jay Reeves can speak more to this, but the requirements based on our seating and square footage, I believe we should be all set.
That was what I was going to ask, was what was the square footage of the customer area was my next question. So, okay. Your hours of operation, what would you like to have it as being?
So what we're planning is weekdays we would be open from 11 till 10. Weekends, more like 11 till 11, with Sundays being 10 till 9 p.m.
Okay, employees, have any guess at this point how many you would have
We're guessing probably in the range of 15.
on, not all at the same time or different
Correct,
shifts or?
not at the same time.
Okay. I have no more questions.
Great, thank you.
Thanks, Joe. Any other board members have any questions? All right. Let's see. Is there anyone here to testify in favor of this appeal? And we will start with you, Mr. Reeves. Let's get you sworn in.
Thank you.
Would you raise your right hand? Do you swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
All right. Can you state your name and mailing address for the record?
Sure. This is Jay Reeves. I'm at 2748 Allen Avenue, also in Fox Park. That's St. Louis, Missouri, 63104.
All right. Go ahead with your testimony.
Very good. I think Craig covered most of it. I did want to add a couple things. First, Craig and Mowgli, the proprietors, operate Little Fox as well, as they mentioned, which is right across the street. They're held in very high regard in the neighborhood. And it's really great that they both live and have their business in the neighborhood. They've gotten accolades locally and nationally for all the work that they're doing. And I think this is going to be a great benefit to the neighborhood. I'd like to point out that we'll leave the outdoor seating aside for now so that we don't slow down this process, as Craig was mentioning. But even with our outdoor seating, this is a very small space. We have just less than 800 square feet of seating, including the outdoor seating. So they do have a parking pad with 2 spots on the back. One will be for the apartment upstairs that they're renting, and the other would be for the commercial use, although my take is it's likely not required to have one for commercial use. And then I also just wanted to be sure, since you usually read what's in the record later, there should be a letter of support from both the Fox Park Neighborhood Association and Alderwoman Sonier, who's in the room here today with us. I'm hoping to have that on record.
Okay. Mr. Klitzing, did Mr. Reeves answer your question?
Yes, he did.
All right. Thank you. Any board members have any questions for Mr. Reeves? All right. Is there anyone else here to testify in favor of this appeal? Alderwoman, let's get you sworn in for a third time.
Do you swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right. And again, state your name and mailing address for the record.
My name is Alicia Sanye. I have the honor of serving as the Alderwoman of the 7th Ward, and my mailing address is 1200 Market Street, room 230.
Okay. Go ahead with your testimony.
Thank you. I won't be saying much things that are new here, just that the neighborhood is really, really excited. I think, Mr. Rivard and his wife operate a business that is doing numbers within there. And just wanted to mention too that there was a lot of conversation with the neighborhood about kind of like the vision for this street. And there was an intentional effort to make sure that it would be another business. And that was something that many of the neighbors voiced to me that they were interested in. We had some residential interest, but they really wanted it. And I think the fact that we have an opportunity to bring that business here and let it be someone that we know has a demonstrated record is really excellent. And I'm also really looking forward. I've heard from neighbors mentioning that they're hopeful that the place that will be across the street might be even a little lower in prices. So this might be an opportunity just for even more neighbors to be able to experience some of the I'm a well staunch fan of Little Fox. It's one of my favorite places to go whenever I have an esteemed guest in our ward. But the opportunity for more folks to be able to experience, yummy, delicious food, and also what an asset they are, because they really go above and beyond. They support a lot of things in the community. They're very responsive to community needs. They've been very intentional with engagement throughout this process. I think we sat down months ago before they were even having the hearing. They were very open to every change and every suggestion and every concern that was there. And we're even good sports about other projects being considered. So I really, am an advocate for them. I'm excited to see their expansion and to add another place to our little economic Little Fox Park corner that we are building out. And I think also a lot of the neighbors are as well.
Okay, thank you. Board members, any questions for the Alderman? All right. Is there anyone else here to testify in favor of this appeal? Okay. Is there anyone here to testify in opposition to this appeal? Okay, hearing none, I will read into the record exhibits, certified copy of the zoning ordinance, appeal to the board, basis of denial, meeting notice letter, City Journal public notices, photographs, Sanborn maps, memo from Planning and Urban Design, an owner statement for building permit issued with zoning hold, letter of support from Alderwoman Sanye, and a letter of support from Elaine A. Coder, President, Fox Park Neighborhood Association. And with that, I will consider this appeal having been heard. And this will conclude the testimonial portion of our board meeting. We will now go into the deliberative portion. Thank you, Ms. Kearns, for your assistance.
Before I go, I just wanted to double check. Will you be needing a transcript of this, or will you let me know if you do it in some future date?
We will, we'll let you know.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, board members, would you like to take a 5-minute recess or shall we continue?
Continue.
Mama, Mel, Joe.
I'm ready to go.
I'm ready.
Okay. Appeal number 20567, 6002 Hampton Avenue.
I don't have a problem with this.
I'd make a motion to approve.
I'll second it.
Moved by Joe, seconded by Mel. All of those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed?
Any conditions?
You don't want any conditions on manufacturing, guys?
Dumpsters?
Well, he's not manufacturing, he's just installing parts. He's not creating any pieces, it's just putting it in and bringing it in. And
okay.
I guess that little sign thing, he's putting all those pieces together, but he's not manufacturing anything there.
He's creating trash.
And get a dumpster. Or have access to one. and not become a nuisance.
Those two conditions I'll agree with.
Thank you.
Do we, Mel? Can we
Yes,
get
second.
a
I'll
second
second.
to that?
Yes.
Okay. And let's take a vote again. All of those in favor of the motion as conditioned?
Aye.
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 All of those opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. Findings.
As conditioned, it will not be a detriment.
Thanks, Joe. Okay, appeal number 11920.
I have a question about this one. The lot is 35 feet wide. What, Mr. Architect's on the board? How wide are parking spots supposed to be? Are they 12
It'll be
feet
as
wide?
small as 8'6".
8'6".
8'6".
Typically, though, if you can, you'd like them to be 9 feet wide.
Yeah.
But I think if you look at the drawing, they actually have dimensions on the 4 spaces they show on the site plan.
Yeah.
I think my eyes are just getting terrible and I can't see that little tiny print. I need like a magnifying glass on top of my glasses. No.
Showing what I've been doing for the last 10 years.
Hey, Mona, the good part about it, if you go to the bottom of the page, usually there's a plus and minus sign. The plus sign makes everything large.
Yeah, I know, Mal. It just is kind of distorted for me. But I hear you. So that's right at the width of the property. Thank y'all.
Yeah. We voted, right? Let's go to the next one.
We have not voted.
No,
I haven't done
okay.
anything. I just asked a question.
There was just a
okay.
question.
Okay, the conditions are
Wait.
not to be a nuisance.
We haven't made a motion yet, Joe.
I guess he's making a motion. Are you making a motion,
You're making
Joe?
a motion, Joe?
Which one are we on at this point?
Judy,
We are.
Magnolia. 3500 Magnolia.
Yes.
Gotta use my phone more of it.
The burned out law office, Joe.
Yeah, they're looking to add 2 units on the first floor, 2 units on the second.
Oh yeah. I have no problem with this. Does anybody?
Nope.
No, they had neighborhood support.
And aldermanic support.
Make a motion to approve.
Mona, your area.
Second.
Okay. Moved by Joe. Any conditions, Joe?
I guess a trash dumpster. Unless apartments get the access to the city does.
I think 4-family would not require that.
Okay,
Correct.
well then I don't have any conditions. I mean, there's no hours to put on it or anything.
Okay. Moved by Joe, seconded by Mona. All of those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries.
Findings.
Will not be a detriment.
Thank you, Joe. Okay. 2510 Alhambra, appeal number 11921.
I'll make a motion on this one to continue it for up to 90 days so they can meet with the neighborhood and the alderperson. I think they can resolve a lot of the issues if they meet with them. And she'd already said she would, so that's my motion.
I'll second
Okay. Moved by Mel, seconded by Joe. All of those in favor?
it.
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Aye.
Okay, we've got 4.
A little duped by that. I felt like she was misleading us all the way along. And had there not been neighbors to come and correct her, she acted as though she was moving in there and her family was going to use that and they weren't going to rent it out. And I felt like that she just was not being honest with us until she got opposition.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Let them go back and talk to the neighbors and the elder person. And if they can't get it resolved, they come back up. We'll just keep that in mind.
Yeah, I'm just making a statement about it. I just felt a little duped by her statement.
Okay.
All right. The vote is 4-1 to continue. The motion carries. Okay.
Minutes.
Appeal number 11922, 2805 Shenandoah.
This is another one that's got aldermanic and neighborhood support.
Yep.
I'll make a motion to approve.
A restaurant. Do we want to consider any standard conditions?
He stated hours, right?
Yes, they did testify.
I'm sorry, I didn't get those down.
11 a.m. to 10 p.m.
Yeah,
It was later on
Thursday.
Friday and Saturday and earlier on Sunday. I think Sunday it was 11 to 9.
Dre has them. Dre, can you read them into the?
Monday through Thursday, 11 to 10. Friday and Saturday, 11 to 11, and Sunday, 10 to 9.
Yeah.
Okay.
Trash dumpster. We don't have to talk about outside seating because they didn't put that on there.
Correct. That would be an expansion of what was presented to us. So if they end up proposing outside seating, they'll have to come back to the board. But you might consider that we don't know where the outside seating will be. You might consider though that they do the encroachment permit condition.
That'll come up when they bring it in, wouldn't it?
True. Yep. We can do that later.
Sign permit.
Oh yeah, any signs need to be permitted. Trash dumpster, hours. I can't think of anything else. Oh, nuisance property, just in case.
Okay, we've got a motion on the floor by Joe.
I'll second it.
And now a second by Mel. All of those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All of those opposed? Motion carries. Findings?
Will be not a detriment as conditioned.
All right. Thanks, Joe.
Any other business?
Meeting minutes.
Okay, I move to accept the minutes of March 26, 2025, with the exception of the proceedings for appeal number 11880.
Okay. Motion made by Irene.
I'll second it.
Seconded by Mel. All of those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All of those opposed? Meeting minutes accepted. Any new business? Mr. Winkler.
We do have a meeting next week. The zoning code update is continuing to march forward. Probably within this month, we'll be discussing with you ways that you will be able to engage with that process. So it'll be coming quickly.
Yay.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, with that,
Make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
moved by Mel, seconded by Joe. All of those in favor?
Aye.
Yay. All right.
Opposed?
Next week.
Meeting adjourned.
See you guys next week.
Thank you all.
Bye-bye.
Bye.